Welcome to the deep dive. We are moving right past the holiday cheer and zeroing in on a high-stakes, highly debated NHL trade rumor that apparently heated up right around Christmas Eve.
Right. This one involves the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Nashville Predators.
And our mission today is to really analyze the strategic and I think the emotional arguments around this potential swap. It centers on moving young defenseman Topi Namela out and bringing former fan favorite Michael Bunting back.
And this isn't, a league reshaping blockbuster.
No, not at all.
It's about subtle, surgical, organizational thinking. And for you, our listener, here's the immediate takeaway. The Leafs front office looks ready to pivot away from a young player whose potential just hasn't materialized in their system.
Right.
And they're doing it in favor of a known commodity. They're prioritizing an immediate identity boost from a player who's proven he can thrive under that unique Toronto pressure.
So we're really looking at a calculated bet here. It pits that organizational patience against immediate need. And the whole discussion, it forces you to ask if this is a necessary strategic adjustment to help the core win now.
Or is it something else?
Or is general manager Brad Treliving just giving in to sentimentality, a kind of organizational amnesia, wanting a player back who they let walk just a year ago? We're right at that crossroads where necessity and nostalgia collide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We have to start with the player the Leafs are giving up on, Topi Namela. And the assessment coming out of Toronto is, well, it's strikingly harsh.
It is.
To call a young player's tenure a categorical failure is powerful language, but you can feel the frustration.
You can, and look, the eye test and the data both support that assessment. We're not talking about a rookie who's struggling but showing flashes of brilliance. We're talking about a complete collapse of confidence.
Unsystemic fit, it seems.
A total systemic misfit. The evidence from the coaching staff is undeniable. Namela has been a healthy scratch for 7 straight games.
That's not load management.
No, absolutely not. That is a crystal clear message. It says, we don't trust you to be reliable when it matters.
And when he has been in the lineup for those 22 games, the production has been, well, anemic. 10 points, 5 goals, 5 assists.
It's just not enough. That's a .45 points per game pace for a guy who was drafted to bring offensive creativity to the blue line. The numbers just aren't there.
Not at all.
But the deeper issue, and it's why you see those scratches, is the hesitation. When he gets the puck, you can almost see him paralyzed by overthinking.
Right, that split-second delay.
That delay is lethal in the NHL, especially under a heavy forecheck. It tells you he is fundamentally miscast for what Toronto's trying to do.
And that's the crux of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nell was supposed to be this smooth skating, playmaking offensive defenseman, but the current Leafs management, they prioritize defensemen who defend first.
Guys who can absorb punishment, kill penalties, play a physical north-south game. And he's the complete antithesis of that. He is a finesse player trying to survive in a meat grinder. The analogy I heard that was perfect is he's a high-performance sports car being asked to tow a massive trailer.
It's a great analogy.
It's not a knock on the car's quality, but it's completely mismatched for the job. And if you keep forcing that mismatch, you damage the asset, and his trade value just evaporates in the press box.
Which brings us to the next logical question, and this is where the strategy gets really compelling. If Namela is a categorical failure in Toronto, why on earth would the Nashville Predators want him?
Right. Are they just taking on Toronto's leftovers?
Exactly. What's in it for them?
Well, not at all. This is where context is king. Nashville's situation is completely different. They are stuck in that agonizing middle ground.
Too good for a lottery pick, not good enough to contend.
Precisely. They're looking at a soft rebuild or a significant retool, and when you're retooling, you need cheap, young assets with a high ceiling.
Yeah.
That tantalizing what-if factor.
And Namela checks all those boxes for them.
Every single one. He's 23, he's cost-controlled, and critically, he's a restricted free agent. So Nashville acquires his rights and controls his next contract.
So for Nashville, this is just a very calculated low risk.
High potential reward bet. It's all about a change of scenery. In Toronto, he's under a media microscope, immense pressure, forced into a defensive role he's not suited for.
And in Nashville,
He gets to breathe, lower expectations, more opportunity to play his natural offensive game, and, crucially, fewer consequences for making a mistake.
well, if he busts, they haven't lost much.
Exactly. They lose Bunting, who they were probably going to move anyway. But if he finds his confidence and develops into a top-4 defenseman, well, Nashville's acquired him for essentially nothing. It's just smart business for a team in their position.
That makes perfect sense for Nashville. But let's challenge the Leafs strategy. Now we shift to the return. Michael Bunting. This is a scrappy winger who came to Toronto as a nobody and left as a folk hero.
He did.
Doesn't bringing him back reek of desperation? Or maybe an admission that the last regime was right about the kind of player this team needs?
That's a fair challenge. It absolutely has an emotional component, but I'd argue the strategic necessity here outweighs the nostalgia.
Okay.
Bunting has a trait that is incredibly hard to acquire. He knows how to thrive here in this relentless, demanding Toronto environment. He's done it before.
We all remember that rookie season. 23 goals, 63 points playing with Matthews and Marner. But why did he succeed where so many others have failed?
Because he played with this undeniable hunger, a massive chip on his shoulder. He wasn't relying on pure skill. He was relying on grit. He was willing to pay the price, stand in front of the net, take the cross checks. He brought an edge and an attitude that this current Leafs team is, frankly, sorely lacking.
And that gets to the core identity argument.
Yeah.
The current Leafs have skill, they have speed, they have firepower. They're an elite team in those areas.
Unquestionably.
But the consensus is they lack nastiness. They're easy to play against when the game slows down in the playoffs.
That is exactly what Bunting represents. He's the anti-finesse player. He is willing to make the game ugly, to drag opponents into the mud, and embrace those grinding battles that define playoff hockey.
He's an agitator.
A relentless one. He draws penalties. He ensures the opposing goalie never gets a moment of peace. Think back to those playoff series against Boston or Tampa. There were times the star players seemed hesitant to go to the dirty areas. Bunting never was. He will take a stick to the ribs for 3 periods if it means drawing 2 power plays or screening the goalie on a key shot.
So he was never soft.
Never soft, and he never disappeared when the intensity ramped up. And that attitude, well, that's a form of leadership. It's what the organization believes this team needs to survive the grind of April and May.
Now, since he left Toronto for Carolina and then Nashville, his production has been respectable, but he hasn't recaptured that 60-point magic.
No, he hasn't.
So this isn't about getting a top-line scorer back. It's purely about acquiring that attitude, that identity piece.
Absolutely. They aren't looking for another 60-point guy. They're looking for someone to shift the identity of their middle six. You don't win cups on finesse alone. You just don't. You need players who operate on the edge.
So if he comes in and gives them 40, 50 points and just agitates constantly,
That's a massive win because he solves an immediate, critical organizational flaw.
Okay, let's turn to the necessary complexity of this. The contracts. A straight one-for-one swap of Namela for Bunting doesn't really work out evenly.
Right. This is where the deal needs some clever mechanics. Namela is young, cheap, and a controlled RFA. Bunting is 30, he carries a $4.5 million cap hit, and he's a pending UFA.
Meaning he can just walk away for free this summer.
Exactly. Toronto is taking on the bigger, immediate cap risk.